Hello, everyone. We'll just give everyone a few minutes to join before we start. If you're just joining us, we're just giving everyone a few minutes just before we get started. So a few people starting to join. Okie doke, let's get started. Just for everyone's purpose and knowledge that we are going to be recording these sessions, so there will be a recording of this webinar that you can go back and have another look at and review any of the information that you've heard today. So what we're going to be looking at today is starting the new academic year using myday. So we're going to look at a few key items, specifically what we need to do in relation to myday to make sure that we're all ready for the new term and ready to get going. So on our agenda today, what we're going to be looking at are additional content tiles, integrations, things like that you will have been adding over the summer, perhaps testing. These are obviously the key things that you want to make sure are added to your site. We're going to be looking at the new users and groups and checking that all those have been added. We're also going to be looking at how you can cleanse your data and how you can do a refresh of that data, and the marketing and comms for your new students and also your returning students, making sure that everyone is actually back and utilizing the app as they should be doing. So when it comes to new content, ideally through the summer, you will have been going through your various web pages and all of your content across campus to make sure we have things like updated dates. We're not referring to last year's timetable or anything like that. So this is obviously crucial when it comes to myday as well. Make sure that you're checking all of your content pages and make sure you've got all accurate dates and details in reference to anything that has changed. And obviously make sure that the tiles are updated to reflect this as well, so that you have got all your up-to-date information available. We also want to be checking our audiences. So we want to be confirming exactly who we're targeting, making sure that we've got the right dashboards pointing to the right people, making sure that we've got the news feed pointing to the right people as well, and also any tiles if you have got any tiles targeting to people. So it's always going through, making sure that those audiences that you had last year are the same audiences for this year, or maybe adding new audiences as well to those areas. What we also need to make sure is that we are updating this for students that are returning to study. So is there anything specific for year 2 students, year 3 students? Is there new tiles that they need to have information about? All of these are crucial to make sure that you're keeping your content fresh and targeted to the relevant students coming back, so it is more relevant to the student themselves. Users and groups. So one of the first things we want to be doing is we want to make sure that we are checking our new student user accounts have been created and are being pulled across using Azure AD. So I know at the moment we have had some incidents recently when it comes to the user management, but they should be all fixed now. So you should be able to start doing all of this and making sure that you've got your new user accounts moving over. Particularly now when we're talking enrollment and students moving, you want to make sure that those students are actually sitting in the right user groups. So this is obviously managing your Azure AD from your student record system. So that will then in turn pull into myday and match your student users. Key thing to know is if a student has switched between courses, it can take obviously the time it takes to switch between groups, so they might see some different targeted information if they have changed courses or if you've gone to that targeting level. So that's one thing to make sure that we've done. Key thing to know when it comes to checking that we've got the new student users, you can actually check this by going into the administration area of your myday tenancy. So by going into the myday tenancy there, you can see your user management tile. By clicking in there, you will see the amount of student users or users overall that are using myday, and also the number of groups that are available to you. You'll know roughly how many students you've got coming into use myday and how many staff users that should be there. So you can match your numbers straight away. And obviously then you can also check the groups as well, make sure that the groups are relevant. You can actually look in depth at the groups, so you can see the group names. You can also choose individual users too. It's also a good time as well to check roles, make sure that your staff, any change in staffing, that the relevant people have the right roles assigned to them. Key thing to know there is users that are going to be creating dashboards or moving tiles around on dashboards, they will need the tenant admin user rights. And if they are working with content, they would need the content management administrator rights. So that will allow them to create new content management pages. It will also allow them to create things like new banners, newsroom articles, and send out your alerts. So to always make sure it's worth checking those groups and the roles are correct new users. We also need to make sure that we add any new groups for targeting. So if we have changed some targeting or created some new news feeds that we want to target a specific group, we need to make sure that those new groups have actually been added into those target feeds and that we are actually reaching those people that we're wanting to target. We also need to ensure that the student data in myday is accurate. There's no obsolete users, for example, leavers. We do have some documentation that can remove any obsolete users. So it's effectively using your Azure AD that will then either leave the users as dormant in myday, or they can actually remove them completely and delete the users out. So we do have some documentation that we can share with you for anyone that is wanting to do that and clean up those data and those users. So when it comes to data cleanse and sync, the things that we're thinking about here is the student data. So we've discussed users. We'll put users to one side for the moment, and we'll consider the student data that we're thinking about. So this is the timetable data. This is the attendance data. This is your student results and grades data. Anything that is specific to your student user. It can also be your print balances data. So these are the kinds of data that we're thinking about. And specifically, this is the data that is held on premise. So it's all the data that we are using the sync server for. So what we want to make sure, we've got fresh data, we've got our new accurate data, and we've made sure we've put all that data into our SQL tables, and these are readily available on our database, ready and attached to where the myday connection string is all connected up to be able to pull that data tables into myday. So effectively, we're changing one set of data tables for a new lot, but it's making sure we put it in exactly the same place, and then we'll be able to pull it across. So when it comes to the data cleanse, what we're going to need to do for any new tables, and I'm talking new data that hasn't been brought into myday before, you might decide this year's the year you're bringing in library balance data, and you're pulling tables in which you haven't done before. That's a sync of that table, and we will just then go ahead and start to map those tables and those fields according to our data, our documents that we can share with you to help with the mapping. So it's making sure that the username's matching and things like that, and you've got a unique identifying number to identify each user. So we have those that we're wanting to pull across, and also to make sure all the existing ones are pulling across as they should do with our fresh new data. So that does involve creating new SQL tables and completing resyncs of the existing tables with the new data in. Okie doke. So once we have got our app ready and we're happy to share it with our users. We've got our users in, we've got our data in, we've got our new content, we've got our new tiles, and it's all working as we would expect it to, then we need to think about how we're going to sell this to our users, how we're going to encourage our students to keep using this. So one of the main ones is QR codes. QR codes are accessible for everybody. It's nice and easy. We want these everywhere on posters, across campus, on walls, pillars, doors, everywhere you can put these QR codes to make sure that these are visible and your students can access them straight away. Other elements to include with your marketing is induction material. Make sure that all your induction material contains information about the app, has an easy accessible QR code for the students to use, making sure that it's always in the forefront of your students' mind to make sure that they download it. The key thing here is we want the students to download the app so then they can actually use it and gain the benefit from it. Toilet doors, one of my favorite ones. It's one that I talk about quite a lot when I do new onboarding for customers. Toilet doors, the back of toilet doors is a prime place to actually put your posters and make sure your QR codes are there. Pop-up stands, we're talking enrollment, we're talking induction, we're talking freshers fair, and even refreshers fair in the January. Make sure you have these pop-up stands, make sure you have your banners with your QR codes present. It doesn't take an awful lot of time really. But yeah, make sure they are available and encourage your users and your students to download the app. Lecturer and teacher-led downloads of the app. Now, this is obviously a key stakeholder in the long term when it comes to marketing of the app, are your lecturers and your teaching staff. They're the ones that are going to be having the most contact with students going forward. They're the people that need to be on board with the app and using the app and encouraging the students to use the app. That's one of the best methods you can actually get to get this out there to your students. Okay, and that is everything that I had to cover today, really. Has anybody got any questions? Or any other thoughts and observations that you've come across at this time of year? No? Okay. Right. You do have obviously your team. So we do have Khadija, who is the client success manager for most of the FE colleges in the UK, and obviously some colleges and institutions in the Middle East. If you do have any queries, you can speak to Khadija. She's always happy to help you. On the same element, we also have Emma, who's the client success manager here for higher education institutes across the UK and also in the South Pacific regions as well and Australia. So Emma is also available for you guys to be able to get in contact with if you've got any questions or want to find out any additional information. She's always available to you. And myself, I'm available for implementations. So for any customers that's going through implementation of the product for the first time, or any future advancements of the product, any upsells that you've done, like professional license and things like that, I'm available to you. So you're welcome to reach out to me and I can do my best to answer any questions. We do also have our support desk, so myday support, where we've got the lovely Ty there who will help you with any support queries if anything is broken or you just need some general support and advice or guidance that we can't help you with in an earlier point of call. So that is your team. We're obviously available to reach out to, and you do also have the custom hub, which is also available to you for all of your resources and videos and articles available to you there. Any other questions?
Thanks, Lindsay. I was just going to say the chat doesn't seem to be working, so if anyone does have a question, they can pop it in the Q&A, and we can obviously um, get back to you on that. And we'll also post all the links that we've been mentioning as well in the follow-up email. I'm sure we'll be around after to answer any questions that anyone has, if they want to chat after the session.
Sharon. And then if anyone has anything further to add. If not, I believe that we can let you go. Quite a short refresh session there.